You learned early how to read a room before you learned how to read yourself. Not in an obvious way, not as a decision. It happened quietly, a tightening in the chest when voices shifted, a subtle scanning of faces, a sense that safety lived somewhere outside your own body, waiting to be earned. Long before you would have called it people-pleasing, your nervous system already knew the pattern. People who grow into people-pleasing often look calm on the surface, agreeable, thoughtful, easy to be around. They remember birthdays, they anticipate needs, they apologize quickly, sometimes before anyone else has noticed a problem. They feel responsible for the emotional temperature of a space, as if harmony itself might collapse without their attention. What is visible is kindness. What is less visible is vigilance. From a psychological perspective, this pattern is not a personality flaw. It is an adaptation. Developmental psychology tells us that children are born with an unfinished nervous system. Regulation is learned through relationship. When care is consistent, emotions are mirrored and soothed, the body learns that feelings can rise and fall without threatening connection. But when care is unpredictable, emotionally unavailable, distracted or quietly conditional, a different lesson forms. In anxious or disorganized attachment, connection feels uncertain. Love feels present but unstable. The child learns that closeness can disappear without warning, not because of cruelty, but because of absence, stress, or misunderstanding. In those environments, the child adapts by becoming attuned, not to themselves but to others. This attunement is intelligence. The brain begins to map safety externally. The limbic system learns to track subtle cues, a sigh, a change in tone, a delayed response. Over time, the nervous system associates approval with relief and disapproval with danger. Neuroscience shows that social rejection activates the same pain circuits as physical harm. For a child, maintaining connection is survival, so the body learns to minimize risk by becoming agreeable, helpful, pleasant, invisible when needed. This is how people-pleasing forms without anyone intending it to. No one has to say love is conditional. The child feels it. They notice which emotions are welcomed and which create distance. Anger might feel dangerous. Sadness might feel burdensome. Needs might feel like too much. Slowly, the child learns to shape themselves into what keeps others close. Over time, this shaping becomes internalized. What began as a strategy becomes an identity. You might feel unsure who you are when no one else is present. Preferences feel negotiable. Desires feel vague. Decisions are often filtered through an imagined response. Will this disappoint someone? Will this cause tension? Will this make me less lovable? Psychologically, this is called self-abandonment. Emotionally, it feels like standing slightly outside yourself, monitoring. You might notice a delay between feeling something and recognizing it, or a reflex to explain your emotions away, or a habit of saying yes while your body quietly contracts. These are not failures of self-awareness. They are the residue of early learning. In adulthood, people-pleasing often shows up in relationships. You may attract people who are expressive, needy, or emotionally inconsistent, not because you seek imbalance, but because your nervous system is familiar with managing it. You might feel deeply responsible for others' feelings, even when no one asked you to be. You might struggle to ask for help, yet feel exhausted by giving it. You might stay in situations that hurt longer than you should, not because you do not see the harm, but because leaving feels like a threat to connection itself. From the outside, it can look like low self-esteem. Internally, it is more complex. Many people-pleasers do not think poorly of themselves in obvious ways. Instead, they feel valuable when they are useful, calm when others are happy, secure when they are needed. Self-worth becomes conditional, not on achievement, but on emotional labor. Neuroscience helps explain why this pattern is so persistent. The brain wires around repetition. Each time harmony is restored through self-sacrifice, the nervous system is rewarded with relief. over years, this relief becomes reinforcing. The body learns that suppressing needs reduces anxiety. Speaking up increases it. Even when circumstances change, the pattern remains because the body is trying to keep you safe the only way it knows how. This is why people-pleasing often feels automatic. You might notice yourself agreeing before you have considered what you want, or smiling while something inside tightens, or replaying conversations, searching for signs you upset someone. These are not habits of weakness. They are echoes of an earlier environment where attunement mattered more than authenticity. Emotional regulation in people-pleasers is often externalized. Calm arrives when others are calm. Anxiety rises when there is conflict, even if it does not involve you directly. Silence can feel loud. Disapproval can feel catastrophic. This is because the nervous system learned to co-regulate through others rather than within itself. There is also grief here, not always conscious but present. Grief for the parts of you that learned to stay quiet, for the anger that never found a safe place, for the needs that learned to disguise themselves as generosity. People-pleasing often carries a quiet sadness, not because life is bad, but because so much of it has been lived in response to others. It is important to say this clearly. None of this makes you broken. It makes you adaptive. The child who learned these patterns was paying attention. They were perceptive. They were sensitive to nuance. Those qualities did not disappear. They became the foundation of empathy, creativity, and depth. The cost was not the pattern itself, but the lack of choice around it. Healing is not about erasing people-pleasing. It is about recognizing it, naming it without judgment. Understanding that the impulse to keep the peace once kept you connected, that it still tries to. When you notice the urge to smooth, to apologize, to disappear, something in you is not failing. Something is protecting. You do not need to force yourself to be different. The nervous system does not change through pressure. It changes through safety. Through moments where you notice a feeling and allow it to exist without fixing it. Through relationships where you are not punished for having edges. Through permission to be human without managing the outcome. As awareness grows, people-pleasing begins to loosen on its own. Not dramatically, subtly. You might pause before responding. You might feel discomfort and survive it. You might discover that connection does not always break when you show up honestly. These moments matter, not because they are achievements, but because they offer new information to the body. It is possible to honor the intelligence of this pattern, while also allowing yourself more space. To recognize that what shaped you does not have to confine you. The child who learned to be easy was never wrong. They were doing their best with what they had. If you recognize yourself here, let that recognition be gentle. Let it land without urgency. You are not late to your life. You are not behind. You are someone who learned early how to care deeply. That care does not need to disappear for you to belong to yourself. What shaped you matters. It leaves marks, but it is not the whole story. You are allowed to take up space slowly, to feel without fixing, to be connected without performing. Nothing about your worth depends on how well you manage others' emotions. You are always more than the role you learn to play.